Brighton and Hove Albion get a point against the Blues following a spirited display at the Amex Stadium. Watch until the end of this review to hear all of my thoughts on today's match. Hello people, welcome to my channel, welcome to another video. This is my review of the match that took place this evening at the Amex Stadium in the Premier League between Brighton and Hove Albion and Chelsea, which ended in a 1-1 draw. So what I'm going to do for you guys in terms of this review is that firstly, I'll run you through the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of the match. I'll then be giving you guys my thoughts on the match itself, and yes, I'll be breaking it down into the first half and the second half as always, and in addition to this I'll be giving you guys the positives and the negatives that I took from the match, and lastly I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on Chelsea's upcoming Premier League fixture that will be taking place this Sunday at Stamford Bridge against Tottenham Hotspur with kickoff at 4:30 PM UK time. So without further ado, let's get straight into this review. So we shall begin this review by getting into the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of the match. And yes, we're going to begin by talking about the formation that he chose. It was a 4-2-3-1, and in terms of the personnel he chose, he went with Kepa in goal. The back four was Cesar Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Antonio Rudiger and Marcos Alonso. The two just in front of the four were Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. The three just in behind the one and of course in front of the two were Hakim Ziyech, Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi, and up front it was Romelu Lukaku by himself. So that is the lineup that Thomas Tuchel fielded at the start of today's match against Brighton and Hove Albion. Now, in terms of my thoughts on the match, and yes, I will begin by giving you guys my thoughts on the first half. I actually thought that Brighton made a good start to the match. They did put us under a lot of pressure from the get-go, and they had a very good chance in the early stages of the match where they got into their final third and they got the ball to the edge of the box. It was getting passed around really well, I have to say, and they did manage to get a shot off that did just go past the post, and thankfully that did not test Kepa, because had it gone on target I don't think he would have saved it. But yes, that was a good chance for them, and I have to say that they did stop us from playing as well. But as the first half went on, we sort of got into our stride, I'd say. We were passing the ball about pretty well after we started to get into our stride, or when we started to get into our stride, and in the 28th minute we got the goal through Hakim Ziyech. It was a brilliant move. He linked up really well, I think it was with Romelu Lukaku, do not quote me on that, but he linked up really well with one of our players. He got the ball a long way away from the goal and just fired it after getting the ball onto his left foot, and he literally just fired it. It did take a deflection off of Robert Sanchez, and you can argue that he should have saved the shot, but it's a good shot from Hakim Ziyech, and that put us into a 1-0 lead. You can definitely argue that it might have been against the run of play, depending on what you thought about Chelsea's performance before they scored the goal, but I thought it was a deserved goal on the basis that we took the chance and they didn't. To be honest, after that we did create some good chances. Callum Hudson-Odoi had a glorious chance to make it 2-0, and he really should have done so. He got fed the ball in acres of space inside the box, and he blazed the ball over the bar when he really should have got that on target at least, or at least threatened Robert Sanchez, shall I say. But yes, he blazed it over the bar, and that for me is just a clear example of what's wrong with the team at the moment. I mean, our attacking has just not been too great recently. Yes, we got the goal from range, and I'll touch on that in more detail later on in this part of this review. But honestly, our attackers have not been up to scratch recently, and it's as simple as that. That was a glorious chance that went begging, and I have to say that um, while Brighton didn't really threaten us too much in the first half, they were still in the game. And against Brighton and Hove Albion, or Brighton, whichever one you guys want, one goal is never enough. It's as simple as that. But honestly, overall, I'd probably say that it was an even first half. A decent performance from us, I'd say, overall in the first half. But in terms of my thoughts on the second half, I have to be honest, Brighton and Hove Albion did make a good start to the second half. They threatened to score inside the opening stages of the second half, but thanks to some brilliant goalkeeping from Kepa, they didn't. But as the second half went on, they just kept threatening us, kept putting us under pressure. They kept getting the ball out wide and putting it into the box. And honestly, we just didn't deal with it. And eventually they got a corner, which was taken from their left-hand side. And how Adam Webster peeled off the markers and just headed it home is beyond me. That was absolutely dreadful defending from those defenders. And I'd almost go close to saying that they should be deducted wages for that, because that's poor defending, especially when you consider the caliber of defenders we have at the club. It's just not good enough. Absolutely embarrassing defending. But I have to say that from a Brighton and Hove Albion point of view, it's a deserved goal, because they were the better team in the second half, or at the start of it. After they got the goal, it did look as though we sprung into life, and that's not good. We shouldn't be springing into life after we concede. We should be getting the job done, or trying to get the job done before we concede, in an attempt to stop ourselves from conceding, if that made any sort of sense. But we started to move the ball about again without really making too many I've lost my trail of thought. That's how bad it was. We didn't really threaten too much after we conceded, and that's me being completely honest. We did have some shots, but most of them did not threaten Robert Sanchez at all. I mean, some of them went over the bar, others went wide. Some of them hit the side netting, which just adds to what I've said about some of our shots going wide. We did try to get the ball into the box from wide positions, but there was no one in the box. Brighton defended really well, I have to say. They stopped us from having any sort of space in their defensive third, and you have to give them credit. I have to say that in addition to their good defending, they could have hit us on the counter-attack a couple of times in the second half, had their final pass been correct. One thing I'll also say is that I felt that Thomas Tuchel made the substitutions too late. I thought that we needed to make them a lot earlier than we did, because it was clear that we needed something in the attack, and it's in the attacking third, or something different in the attacking third. And in addition to that, it's clear that we desperately needed someone in the middle of the park who could drive with the ball. And yes, N'Golo Kante can do that, but it was clear that he was stuck to doing all the dirty work and breaking up play. And for me, he made those substitutions a bit too late. I don't know about you guys, but let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section below. But yes, overall for me, poor performance. It's as simple as that, poor performance. And we got away with one. In terms of the positives and the negatives, one positive, two negatives. Honestly, I struggled to find a positive from this game because we were really poor. The only positive that I took from this match is that we scored from distance. And yes, I may sound as though I'm being harsh, but honestly, we were poor today. And the only reason why I've picked this out as a positive is because we don't often score from distance. And yes, I know that we scored from distance against Liverpool, but we don't do it often. It's been... We don't have enough players who are willing to take shots from distance, and we need to do it more. We seriously need to start doing it more, because as I always used to say, we aren't always going to be able to weave our way into the box, and today we found that out after we conceded the goal especially. But yes, that's the only positive. that I took from the match. Getting into the two negatives now. The first one is that we were lucky to get away with a point. Honestly, Brighton got into our box. They got into the box we were defending with ease. Had their final pass been correct on certain occasions, they would have scored more than they did. Honestly, we were lucky to get away with it, and that's me being completely honest. That's the first negative. The second and final negative that I took from the match is that we took too long on the ball at times and we ended up losing it. There were times where I saw Jorginho take too long on the ball and he lost it, and that's not me scapegoating him, that's me giving you guys an example. Honestly, there were other players who did it as well, and they were lucky to not get punished, and that just adds to my point about us getting away with a point and being lucky to do so. But anyways, guys, that's it for my thoughts on the match. Please, guys, do drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, I'll do my very best to respond. We're now going to conclude this review by getting into my thoughts on Chelsea's upcoming Premier League fixture against Tottenham Hotspur. Let's do it. Now, to finish off this review, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on our upcoming Premier League fixture that will be taking place this Sunday at Stamford Bridge against Tottenham Hotspur, with kickoff at 4:30 p.m. UK time. Honestly, if we play the way we did against Brighton and Hove Albion in today's game against Spurs on Sunday, we're in big trouble. Yes, Spurs, yes, we've beaten them 3 times, but I don't care about that. Form and statistics goes out of the window in big games like this, and if we play like that against them on Sunday, then we're in big trouble. I'll say it again, we're in big trouble. We have to turn up if we want to get the points. It's about time we won a Premier League game again, because we haven't done so since December of last year against Aston Villa. And honestly, it's going to be tough, but I am looking forward to it. Hopefully the boys turn up, because honestly, this is getting too much now. But that's it. I'll see you all very soon. Come on, you Blues. Come on, Thomas Tuchel. And peace. I'm out of here.